Beyond the Hype, a fashion lifestyle tech podcast. Presented by Stephanie Williams and Greg Lewis.
Have you ever imagined a world where the clothes you wear only exist digitally?
Yeah, like in the metaverse.
Exactly. Well, that's what we're looking at today, this idea of digital fashion with a company called the Fabricant.
They're like the pioneers, really pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
And I hear they're about to launch some pretty amazing AI design tools, right?
Oh yeah, cutting edge stuff. And get this, they're giving early access to designers.
So not just like a public release, people can actually get in there early and try these tools out.
Yep, and help shape them. Give feedback, be a part of the development process.
That's incredible. So before we go any further, I think we need to take a step back. What exactly are these Fabricant intelligent tools? What can they do?
Well, at their core, they're all about combining, human creativity with AI.
So like a partnership rather than AI taking over completely.
Yeah, exactly. And the goal is to make the whole design process faster, more sustainable, and way more cost effective.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Can you give me an example? Like, how does this work in practice?
Well, imagine you're a designer.
Yeah.
And you've got this amazing idea for a dress.
Got it. I've got my sketchbook. I'm ready to go.
Instead of, going through the whole process of making a physical sample, you can just sketch it out. And boom, the tool transforms it into a hyper-realistic digital garment.
No way. Like I can see it move, see the fabric drape.
Exactly. And it's all thanks to these things called GANs, generative adversarial networks.
GNs, right. I've heard of those, but I never thought they could be used for something as detailed as clothes.
They're incredibly powerful. They can create textures and movements that are practically indistinguishable from real fabric.
That's mind-blowing. So what does this mean for designers? How does this change the game for them?
Well, for one, it just speeds up the entire design process. You can experiment with so many ideas so quickly.
It's like rapid prototyping, but for fashion.
Exactly. And this is a game changer, especially for, say, independent designers.
Who maybe don't have the resources of a big fashion house.
Yeah. This levels the playing field. You can iterate on designs, test things out without spending a ton of money.
Makes sense. But what about actually making the clothes? How do you go from a digital design to a real garment?
Well, here's the really cool part. You can use the tool to generate sewing patterns directly from the digital garments.
Wait, seriously? From the image itself?
Yep. So you go from concept to a pattern that's ready for production, like super fast.
Wow, okay. That's pretty amazing. So it analyzes the garment, figures out all the shapes and pieces.
Exactly. And this doesn't just save time, it also means less waste. You don't need to make a bunch of physical prototypes.
So it's more sustainable too.
Yeah. You only produce the final garment when you know exactly what you want. And think about all the steps it cuts out. No more drafting patterns by hand, making adjustments.
So designers can focus on the creative side.
Exactly. It's about, optimizing the whole process. Less manual work, faster turnarounds, lower costs.
This is really starting to sound like a revolution in fashion design. It's incredible.
It is. And we're just scratching the surface here. There's so much more to explore. Like, how do you showcase these digital clothes? Where does the fashion show happen in a digital world?
Right, because you can't exactly have a runway show in the metaverse, can you?
Well, not in the traditional sense, no.
Yeah.
But that's where things get even more interesting. We're seeing this rise of virtual showrooms, augmented reality experiences, even 3D models.
Yeah.
The fashion industry is really embracing the digital realm.
That's true. I've seen some brands experimenting with those AR try-on things.
Right. Pretty cool, isn't it?
It is, actually. You can see how something might look on you without leaving your house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the Fabricant's tools are perfect for creating collections, specifically for those kinds of immersive experiences. Imagine like you're attending a fashion show, but
From my couch.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And you can like walk around the virtual runway, zoom in on details.
Wow.
Yeah, and even interact with the garments in 3D.
That's so cool. It's way more engaging than just looking at pictures or videos online.
Totally. And it's not just visuals. These tools let designers create clothes with functionalities that would be impossible in real life.
What do you mean?
Like clothes that react to your movement
Whoa.
or change color based on your mood.
Okay, now that's next level. So we've talked about speed, creativity, pushing boundaries, but what about sustainability? That's a huge topic in fashion these days.
Right, absolutely. And this is another area where these tools are, game changers. Because you're designing digitally, you're eliminating all those physical samples, materials, shipping.
Less waste, right.
Way less.
Yeah.
Think about it. Traditionally, you make tons of prototypes.
And most of them just get thrown away.
Exactly. With this, you only produce the final garment when you're 100% happy with it.
Which is better for the environment and probably saves money too.
Definitely. And, traditional fashion production uses a lot of water, dyes, chemicals.
Not to mention the carbon emissions from shipping everything around the world.
Yeah, digital fashion really sidesteps a lot of those issues. It's a whole new way of thinking about the industry's impact.
It sounds like it. Okay, so back to this early access thing. Why is that so important? What makes it so special?
Well, it's not just about getting to use cool new technology, it's about getting to shape it.
I see. So by giving feedback early on.
Exactly. You can help ensure these tools are developed in a way that benefits everyone, the whole industry.
It's like a collaborative effort to make fashion more sustainable, more inclusive, more creative. But are there any downsides? Any potential challenges we need to think about?
Yeah, there are always challenges with new technology. One concern is the impact on jobs, traditional fashion jobs.
Right, because if a computer can do something that a person used to do.
Some roles might become less necessary, yeah. It's something we have to be mindful of.
Absolutely. But doesn't technology often create new jobs too?
It does. And this shift towards digital fashion could lead to a whole new set of skills that are in demand, like digital designers, 3D modelers, AR and VR specialists.
So it's not so much about jobs disappearing, but about them changing.
Exactly. And then there's the question of accessibility. Will these tools be available to everyone or just big brands with lots of money?
That's a really important point. If we want a diverse and innovative fashion industry, these tools need to be available to everyone, regardless of their budget.
I agree. And, the Fabricant seems to be aware of that. Their commitment to early access for independent designers is a good sign, but it's something we need to keep an eye on.
Definitely. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from how these tools work to their potential impact on sustainability, jobs, the whole industry. What's a key takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with?
I think the biggest takeaway is that fashion is in the middle of a huge transformation. And it's not just about trends or aesthetics, it's about the way we create, consume, interact with fashion.
It's a fundamental shift, really, and it's happening now. So what can our listeners do to, stay ahead of the curve? How can they explore this digital fashion world for themselves? It really feels like we're on the edge of something totally new here, and I'm not sure if I should be excited or scared, honestly. Where do we even start to wrap our heads around all this?
Well, I think a good place to start is just by immersing yourself in the world of digital fashion,
Yeah.
Check out companies like the Fabricant, look at their websites.
Yeah.
They usually have blogs, articles, videos, all sorts of things explaining, their vision, the tech behind it all.
That's a good idea. What about actually experiencing it? Are there brands out there that are doing virtual fashion experiences that people can try out?
Oh yeah, absolutely. A lot of brands are playing around with AR. Augmented reality, those virtual try-on things.
Right.
You can usually find those on their websites or through dedicated AR apps. It's a fun way to kind of dip your toes in and see what it's all about.
So I could try on a digital dress without leaving my house. Honestly, that sounds kind of amazing.
Exactly. And if you're feeling really adventurous, you can check out some of the online marketplaces and communities that are dedicated to digital fashion.
Oh, wow. I didn't know those existed. What kind of things do they have?
Oh, all sorts of stuff like individual garments, accessories. You can even find whole virtual wardrobes.
Wow, virtual wardrobes.
Yeah, and you can even attend digital fashion shows. It's a whole thing.
It's crazy to think that this world is already so developed. It really shows you how technology's blurring the lines between what's real and what's virtual.
It really is. And, don't forget about that early access program we talked about. That's another great way to get involved,
Yeah. Get your hands dirty with the tech that's shaping the future.
Exactly. It's not just about watching it happen. It's about being a part of it. Who knows? Maybe one of our listeners will become the next big digital fashion designer.
That would be awesome. It's really exciting to think about all the possibilities. It really comes back to human creativity, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. These tools are powerful, but it's the designers, the artists, the innovators who are using them to push boundaries, to really reimagine what fashion can be.
And who knows what the future holds? We might see digital fashion become part of our everyday lives in ways we can't even imagine right now.
I know, right? Imagine walking down the street and seeing people wearing digital clothes that like shimmer and change with every step. Or going to a concert where the performers' outfits are reacting to the music.
That would be incredible. It's like a whole new level of self-expression. And it makes you think what other industries could be disrupted by this kind of technology. Architecture, maybe, or product design, even medicine.
It's definitely possible. I think the biggest lesson from all this is that the line between the physical and digital world is getting blurrier and blurrier. And that just opens up a whole universe of possibilities.
It really does. Well, to all our listeners out there, keep your imaginations open, stay curious, and embrace the digital revolution because the future of fashion, and maybe a lot of other industries, is waiting to be designed.
I love it. Well said. Until next time, stay curious, everyone.
Beyond the Hype, a fashion lifestyle tech podcast.